I'm Eric Singer, Gazette.com, and this is Between the Lines. History made Decision Day here in Colorado Springs, May 19th, a day that will live in Colorado Springs history. A decision made, Mayor-elect John Suthers, a landslide overall with regards to this election. Joining me now, reporters Stephen Hobbs and Billie, Stanton, Anleu, who have been covering this. This was truly a historic day when it comes to numbers, so let's focus on that. You were following the John Suthers camp. Let's talk about that victory speech that was made.
I was tonight. John was there at his party at the Gold Room very shortly after the initial results were announced. People were waiting anxiously for him. I got there a little early, and I'd say within 10 minutes after the results were announced, people were so happy who were in his camp. And he showed up and started giving a very touching speech, actually. It was very well done.
Before we get to Stephen, because you were following Mary Lou Makepeace, let's listen in to a little bit of that speech, which you got to hear live on Gazette.com.
You know, I'm optimistic. This is a big city, but it's a beautiful city. It's got a lot going for it. It's got a very talented workforce, got a lot of talented volunteers. And I think if we can focus on a couple major challenges, and I would say that's infrastructure and it's new job creation, and get the cooperation of the mayor, the council on the same page, and also the citizens. Because, as I say, I don't think we're going to be able to solve this infrastructure problem without the citizens saying, this is something we've got to do.
Once again, those were comments made by Mayor-elect John Suthers giving his victory speech when he learned that he would be Mayor-elect of the city of Colorado Springs. Once again, Stephen Hobbs was covering the Mary Lou Makepeace situation, the camp, and you got to hear a little bit of her situation and listen to her supporters, because obviously a totally different scene.
Well, just like Billie said, a lot of applause and appreciation when she showed up at her party. But as the first results came in, actually it was kind of interesting because they were projected on the wall and people didn't really know actually when the results first came in. There were some supporters that kind of started to make their way, and news spread that she was down by such a large margin. But I think it's a reflection of the support that she had from the people that were there, that it really didn't faze them as part of their celebration for the evening.
Now, let's listen to Mary Lou Makepeace give her concession speech.
We changed the conversation that was going on. I think that was just so important to articulate what is going on here and to help people understand what is going on. And I think we also have laid a foundation for a more effective administration. You know?
Once again, you just heard Mary Lou Makepeace give her concession speech after learning the landslide numbers that came down. And let's talk about those landslide numbers. First, Billie, you know, you've been covering this election. Were you shocked at the overwhelming numbers, more than 2-1?
I was surprised, Eric, I have to admit. I thought that Mary Lou was, in the end, getting a lot of young voters and getting a lot more voters than she had in the first campaign, in the first election, April 7th. But yes, I was surprised by the huge margin that John took.
Stephen?
Yeah, Billie and I were talking about it before the first results came in. There seemed to be more ballots cast. So I think it was a little bit surprising initially, but we had the conversation right after election night with a couple other reporters, and we talked a little bit about really what Mary Lou had to overcome to win. We knew it was going to be tough for her coming in. So kind of when you think about it, I don't know if it was that surprising at the end, but I think we both thought it would be a little closer when those first initial results came in.
All right, final takeaways from the Mary Lou Makepeace camp.
Well, I think the thing that really stuck out to me was people were really happy with having an opportunity to have a voice in this election. Mary Lou said that she felt like they changed some of the discussion around the election by some of the thoughts that she brought in, as well as her supporters. So I think people were happy that they felt like they had an opportunity to express themselves through this election campaign and maybe direct the conversation between her and John Suthers when they had those debates and as the runoff election time period went along.
And Billie, Stanton, and Anleu, you were there as well, listening to the speech, and then as we had a news conference moments after the speech, the one thing that Mayor-elect John Suthers was talking about was potholes, how to deal with the council, and so many other things, specifically about money to pay for all the problems that we're seeing from infrastructure over the years that to a certain degree has been neglected because of money. Your takeaway from that?
Oh, he was very specific with me in an interview afterward about how he's going to give the city council more cooperation than they've had in 4 years, and that they will sit down and dissect the city budget and determine. He said, at some point we have to sit people down and say, folks, we got $2 million here, we got $3 million there. That's small potatoes for what we need to do, and then they'll try to figure out a way to raise the money to accomplish what needs to be accomplished.
Thank you very much, Billie, Stanton, and Anleu, and of course Stephen Hobbs, covering both the Mary Lou Makepeace and Mayor-elect John Suthers camps on Decision Day and Decision Night here in Colorado Springs. I'm Eric Singer with Between the Lines, Gazette.com.